Service. Agents were preparing for the arrival of President Obama in Colombia. Some brought prostitutes back to their hotel.
The Secret Service was swift to deal with the issue. Agents were suspended or fired, but now for the first time, one agent is breaking his silence, and he spoke to our own John Miller. John, good morning.
Good morning. Gregory Stokes was one of 11 agents caught up in that scandal. 3 have been returned to duty, 2 have quit, but 6 remain suspended. One of them is Gregory Stokes, and he says they deserve due process and a hearing on whether they can get their jobs back. And in this interview, the only one he's ever done, he begins that fight.
Clearly what happened in Cartagena, the behavior that was exhibited down there is not something that meets the expectations of the American people. For that, we are truly sorry. But for anybody to think that the Secret Service as an agency has more or less of a problem with that behavior than any other agency with top secret security clearances, wrong.
Gregory Stokes is a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Secret Service. He is also one of the agents who was caught up in the prostitution scandal in Cartagena, Colombia. It happened last year, before President Obama arrived for the Summit of the Americas. Stokes and 10 other agents invited prostitutes to their rooms, legal in Colombia, and not specifically prohibited by Secret Service regulations at the time. What happened down there?
What happened down there was a bunch of agents who were not specifically assigned a duty at a given time, were on their own time, went out and met some women, brought them back to their rooms, did what they did, and said, "See you later."
But in the morning, one of the prostitutes reportedly demanded more money from an agent. There was a loud argument. Police were called. Word got to the United States Embassy, and soon the press. Were you surprised that this became such a big deal?
I knew, based upon the media coverage, that it was going to be a big deal.
Stokes and the other agents understood they had violated an unwritten code: never embarrass the Secret Service or the White House. If you had that night to live over again, would everybody have done the same thing?
Knowing what we know now? Of course not. The first rule of the Secret Service is to do no harm.
But the damage was already done. Before the president even arrived in Colombia, all of the agents were sent back to the United States. Mark Sullivan, then director of the Secret Service, placed them on administrative leave and revoked their security clearances. 6 of them, including Stokes, remained suspended without pay indefinitely.
I was surprised to the extent to which Sullivan's director's office would go to railroad us.
What do you mean by railroad us?
The primary reason for me talking to you here today is to make it clear that we have been denied due process. We were supposed to have had a 3-person final adjudication by the Department of Homeland Security. That proceeding has been delayed, in my opinion, and in the opinion of other agents in this situation. They are trying to starve us out. They are trying to put us in a sort of limbo in hopes that we'll quit and go away.
When the scandal first broke, the agency was under fire, so the Secret Service launched an internal investigation, but Congress demanded an independent probe.
Good morning, Chairman Lieberman.
And the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General promised he'd deliver one.
I owe it to the Secretary and to Congress for me to do an independent review and be transparent and come up with a recommendation, report to you what else can be done.
Because the investigation was at the request of Congress and not a criminal probe, the Department of Justice denied the necessary permission for the DHS investigators to go to Colombia, where they could have interviewed the prostitutes, hotel employees, and police. All the Inspector General could do was review the Secret Service investigation and interview the accused agents, like Stokes. Did you have any trouble answering their questions?
Absolutely not.
Did you tell the truth?
Absolutely.
Did they do a thorough job?
Absolutely.
That Inspector General's report was released in January, and it found the Secret Service and its director, Mark Sullivan, responded expeditiously and thoroughly to the allegations.
It was a complete whitewash of an omission of facts that I know were conveyed to the Department of Homeland Security, not just by myself, but by many other senior executives at the Secret Service. Everybody in federal law enforcement.
For Stokes, it is not just that he and the other agents are in hot water. It is about who he says is not in hot water. Stokes believes the DHS Inspector General left two people out of the final report, a Secret Service executive and a volunteer White House staffer who is also the son of a powerful Washington lobbyist. Stokes says there was evidence that they also had prostitutes in their rooms at the very hotel where the president was going to stay. The White House, Secret Service, and DHS say those allegations were thoroughly investigated and were unfounded. But Stokes claims at least one investigator thought otherwise.
And I even became aware that the lead investigator, a man of high integrity in my opinion, was placed on administrative leave for refusing to redact or omit portions of his original report to the satisfaction of the Inspector General.
So the lead investigator wrote up a report with the facts as he understood them, submitted it, and they sent it back and said, change the facts?
That's my understanding.
Sources identified that investigator as David Neeland. Two sources have confirmed to CBS News he refused to alter his draft report and is now facing unrelated administrative charges. Officials at the Department of Homeland Security refused to reveal the nature of those charges, citing privacy concerns. Neeland won't comment either.
This is me graduating a new class of tactical canine officers.
Most of what Gregory Stokes has left of his Secret Service career can fit into this cardboard box. But Stokes says he'll continue to fight until all the facts are revealed.
What would you like to see happen here?
At this point, first and foremost, I'd like to see due process achieved for myself and other Secret Service employees who have been railroaded in this matter. Secondly, I sincerely hope that Congress opens up a separate, full, and independent investigation of all these facts so that the American public has the answers that they deserve.
One senator we've spoken to, Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, has raised a number of these issues about how the DHS Inspector General's investigation was carried out. Senator Johnson says he sent out a list of questions 4 months ago, and he's still waiting for answers from DHS, which is the agency over the U.S. Secret Service.
Okay, so I get this guy who says, look, I want due process. Look, I did what I said I did. But other people were not investigated, and he suggests there was a cover-up. Question, can he prove it?
So, and what he's saying is he can't prove it from where he sits. That's why he's asking Congress to investigate this, because he's saying that
a White House volunteer?
The DHS independent investigation was an independent or an investigation.
What's this about a White House volunteer?
So the White House volunteer is a volunteer staff member on the advance team who had this prostitute had signed herself in using his room number, or somebody had signed her in using his room number. The White House General Counsel's office says we investigated that thoroughly, although they don't exactly say how, but they say they have former experienced federal prosecutors on staff who questioned people and looked at records.
And there was a mix-up about room number.
And they said somebody else signed this guy's room number and another name, and this was done in several other cases.
Okay.
John, thank you.